good afternoon. I'm Linda Parks, Chair of the Ventura County Board of Supervisors. On behalf of my whole board, Supervisors Levere, Ramirez, Huber, and Long, we just want to share in some good news and really appreciate the fact that we in California have been able to really cut back on COVID, and you're going to hear some good news, and I'll leave that to our staff to present. But when I look around the nation and I see how good California has done, and we really do share our concerns for other parts of our nation like Florida, they're having a really hard time with new surges of COVID. But here in California, mostly in part of the good work of our citizens, our businesses, and actually the COVID protocols that are put forth, we've been able to get a hold of and control COVID to the degree that we can now open up our economy a lot more. And what a wonderful feeling that is. You know, for grandparents to be able to hug their grandkids, kids being able to finally get to go to school where they need to be, both for socialization and learning, and our struggling businesses, who we owe so much to. I mean, they really took a severe brunt in this COVID world. And so we are really thankful for the good work that they have done. It's really one of those things where we all have to come together and help each other. And for that, we want to thank the helpers and those who had to give more than others to see that we are all protected from the spread of COVID. So our thanks goes out to all of those who have worked hard, who have struggled, and who have helped us get to here today. And so with that, I'm going to introduce our CEO, our County Executive Officer, Mike Powers, with some good news for us all. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair Parks, and good afternoon, Ventura County community. Yes, this is a very exciting day on a number of levels, thanks to all of your great work here in our community. So we heard just this morning the governor announce that there's 20 million vaccines that have been provided statewide, 4 million in our vulnerable communities. And so if the trends continue the way they are, the governor plans to reopen the state June 15th completely. And that will be a very exciting day for our entire state. It won't be county by county anymore. The tier structure will go away. And so that's wonderful news. And of course, it's going to depend on the supply of vaccines and those hospital rates staying low and stable. But that's very exciting for our entire state and for our county. But speaking of our county, you know, June 15th is a little bit of ways, but that's exciting to see that on the horizon. We just got confirmed today that from the state that Ventura County will be going into the orange tier at midnight tonight. And that is a great reflection, again, on you, the community, our businesses, and just the wonderful work that you are doing. And it's important to note, too, that we're achieving this in two ways, actually, as the tiers were structured originally and also with the adjustment factor that the state just made in terms of the vulnerable population. So that's exciting news. But what does it mean to be in the orange tier? So what that means is that movie theaters, restaurants, churches, museums, zoos, and aquariums can go from 25 to 50% capacity. Breweries and wineries can offer indoor service at 25%. Gym capacity increases from 10 to 25%. Family entertainment centers can resume indoor operations at 25% capacity. Theme parks can open at 25% capacity. Outdoor venues for live performances can open at 33%, and boy, have we missed those. Retail capacity restrictions are lifted. And just on a personal note, I was able to go out to dinner with my family on Friday night, and what a wonderful experience it was. You know, we've always valued, I think we all have, but things maybe we took for granted before, I don't think we ever will again. It was just a great experience to be out and out in the community, the vibrance. So many people were out and safely, and it was great to see the energy and the spirit. I think we'll never take these occasions for granted again. The trend is also looking good too. So of our three metrics, so one of them is already in yellow, the positivity. Our equity metric is really getting very close. We had a good improvement in that. So again, our trends here locally, thanks to you, are heading in a good direction to get us into the yellow tier. Vaccines, of course, are our top priority and our board's top priority. So right now we're at 43.8% of eligible people in our county have received at least one dose. And that's really striking. That's more than 460,000 vaccines administered countywide. So our administration rate is 43.8. Statewide, it's 33.8. And nationwide is about 32.4. So you can see we're able to administer at a very favorable rate here. And it's exciting that the next tier that's going to open up to 16 and older on April 15th, that's very exciting news, of course, but the supply is still limited. So we continue to advocate for the state and advocate for our county at the state level, and we're doing it again this afternoon, in fact, just to make sure that we're getting our fair share for our county here, because when we get it, we give it. And our capacity still well exceeds the supply that we're getting. So when the supply starts to flow in, and we're hearing that's going to start happening in the coming weeks, when it does, we will be ready. We will be ready, so continue to stay connected and watch for when it's your time to get vaccinated. Business assistance grants. So that opened March 31st. This program that was approved using general fund from the county unanimously by our Board of Supervisors. It opened March 31st. It's been open for a week as of today, and so far we have 1,440 applicants. And we are excited to announce that we're actually going to extend the deadline for 1 week to April 13th at 6 p.m. We're extending the deadline for the business assistance grants 1 week to April 13th at 6 p.m. Rental assistance, of course, continues to be extremely important. We're getting a lot of questions about that. That's this $50 million program. It's just an extraordinary program. Tenants can apply to receive 25% of unpaid rent from April 1, 2020 to March 30, 2021. But I really want to emphasize this point. Landlords can apply and be reimbursed up to 80% of unpaid rent. Landlords, 80% of unpaid rent. We're getting a lot of questions from landlords, which is great. So really, it's best if the landlords do apply. So we really encourage you. They've been great partners thus far, and so we look forward to that continuing going forward. And so with that, I just say Ventura County, thank you. Thanks to you, we are heading in a great direction here, a strong direction here in our county. And with that, it's my honor to introduce our Public Health Officer, Dr. Robert Levin.
Good afternoon. I'd like to start by reviewing today's numbers. The new positive COVID tests in our county are at 10, and that is with 2,059 tests being performed. I'm going to convert that into percentages for you in just a moment, but it's very favorable. We currently have hospitalized 23 people with COVID across our county in the 8 hospitals, and 5 of those 23 people are in the ICU, and that's down 2 from yesterday. We have 1 more death reported from a number of days back. We've had no deaths reported in the last 3 days. But that does bring our total number of deaths to 987. What does 987 mean? Let's look at it from another perspective. That is 50 times more deadly, this virus, than the flu virus is from the average flu season. 50 times more deadly. And we count the COVID deaths in the same exact way that we count the flu virus deaths. So, what do the numbers say? Well, the numbers over the last 3 weeks, as you just heard from our CEO, Mike Powers, is this will allow us to enter into the orange tier tonight after midnight, and the yellow tier may not be that far behind. We've come a long way. We've gone from non-pharmaceutical interventions alone back when vaccinations were only a dream to us. We're hitting the 4 million mark with vaccinated members of the lowest quartile in terms of socioeconomic status, and this will allow us to enter the yellow tier when we achieve a rate lower than 2 cases. Yesterday, our testing positivity rate was 2% over the 3 days counted for the weekend. And today, our rate, those 10 cases, represents a rate of 0.5%, a half of 1%, which is well below what is required for us to enter the yellow tier. So we can look forward to the possibility of that occurring over the next weeks. I'm thrilled that businesses are moving toward greater and greater opening. Our businesses have been long-suffering and deserve the lifeblood of greater numbers of customers and more indoor allowances. I'm also thrilled there'll be more and more opportunities for individual, family, group activities, both indoor and outdoor. And when we get to the yellow tier, this will increase even further. But at the same time, I'm fearful that we'll mistake liberalization for total return to normal, and we're not there yet. If we go beyond the limitations that we still have, we'll endanger these same businesses and these same freedoms that we're now able to enjoy. As Mr. Powers said, 43.8% of our vaccine-eligible population in Ventura County have received their first vaccination. Herd immunity is probably achieved at 75 to 80% of the population being vaccinated. An unknown is how we will be protected if the younger members of the herd are unvaccinated, but these numbers are achieved 75 to 80% in the older members of the herd. And another unknown is how much protection partial herd immunity, 43%, will give us as we progress towards full herd immunity. I think it's going to offer us some protection, but not complete protection. Our safest course of action is to continue, to double down on non-pharmaceutical interventions. Please continue to wear masks, to social distance, gather outdoors, preferably to indoors, and avoid larger, dense gatherings. We thought once we started getting significant amounts of people vaccinated, we would no longer need to mask. What we didn't expect was the variants that have arisen. The variants we have seen so far have been more contagious, and they've been somewhat more deadly. Some of them have. But the variants so far have not seemed to be able to totally elude our vaccines. What we have not seen so far is a variant that can completely evade our vaccines. We provide the opportunity for such a variant to arise by allowing our case numbers to go up. We must not do that. When a COVID virus passes from one person to another, it has the opportunity to mutate, to change to a more worrisome form. Again, we must not allow that to happen. We must not let our guard down. Non-pharmaceutical interventions have come full circle now. Thank you very much, and have a good week.